bro, I was tired of being poor. You know what I mean? Like, it takes enough pain, and there's an old saying, it's like, until the pain exceeds the pain of having it change, right? Then it will never happen. Like, for me, it was too painful to stay the same. Before I enter the garage door, like, I'm not on the phone. I take my business hat off and I put my husband hat on and my dad hat on. And then I'm there with my family and my babies, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we've been through all the fires, all the turmoil. I mean, brother, we've been in lawsuits with Kate Spade. You know, like,
wow,
that's a big company.
For one of our logos, you know what I mean? So
Welcome back to the Digital Social Hour, guys. I'm your host, Sean Kelly. Here with my co-host, Wayne Lewis.
What up, what up?
And our guest today, Carlos Reyes.
how you doing?
How's it going, man?
Good, brother. Just got done speaking at WealthCon with Ryan Pineda. It was, in my opinion, I've been speaking for a very long time, but that was one of the best times I've ever had on stage.
How's the turnout? How many people showed up?
There was over
1,000?
1,400 people.
Oh, okay.
No, I wish it was 1,000.
Oh, I was going to say, wow.
I don't think, I mean, it was a real estate conference, right? I think the only people that can get like tens of thousands is probably Grant Cardone right now.
Yeah.
And maybe Tony Robbins, you know what I mean? But it was beautiful, bro. The energy was great. You know, they did a great job. Ryan Pineda's team, I mean, he has like 30, 40 people working, and it was great. I had a great time, and the feedback that I'm getting, the people, like, the audience is always going to tell you, not, you know, how you did, you know what I mean? And it's based off, you know, the impact or the inspiration that you made somebody feel, you know? And that's something that, like, I'll always remember. You know, people don't remember what you say, they remember how you made them feel.
Right.
And I think I think that's the kind of speaker that God has intended me to be. It's more like inspirational, spiritual, you know what I mean? Strategical, that it's a little bit of that, you know. So everybody has their own like thing. Mine's just that, and it's been a beautiful journey. But I'm not like, my main thing is a speaker. I'm a businessman that people just started booking to speak, you know, back in 2017, and then I've shared, praise God, I've shared a stage with everyone but Tony Robbins.
Wow.
Name it, Tony, you know, Dean Graziosi, Grant Cardone, Andy Frisella, Ed Milet. I've actually spoken after Ed Milet twice already. He's a good friend of mine. Andy Frisella is a good friend of mine. Not only have I spoken with him on stage, but I've been on his podcast twice. Brad Lee, obviously, you know, he's one of my. I love that dude. You probably had him on here already, right?
He's coming on soon, yeah.
Good. We were hanging out with him yesterday. Who else? I mean, who else is a big dog out
Gary
there?
V.
That's I spoke after Gary.
Nice.
July 2021 in Miami.
Sick. Gary
so that
Brecka.
was cool. I've spoken with Gary. Actually, I was a VIP client with Gary when when he had Streamline Medical.
Yeah.
So you took the tests and everything.
Oh, bro, we spent a good 30-40 grand. That is at that time the Porsche design tower that he was living in.
Yeah.
Picked me up in a Bentley Spur. We went into, it was super. I've never seen this in my life. Picks me up in his Bentley Spur downstairs. Go into the elevator. Go to like the 42nd floor.
Yeah.
The garage opens up and we're in his living room.
No way. The car was in the living room?
Yeah.
Porsche hour,
Yeah. Cool. It was real good, man. And we became good friends there. And I actually was there. It was Laguna Niguel, I believe, when him and I won't mention his name because he's a really good friend of mine too. When Streamline and this specific individual were merging to come up with the Superhuman Protocol. I was right there at the table during that dinner when it was being finalized. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And that company's blown up since.
It's crazy, bro, because you know, like, if you this is what I believe, right? If you develop like a good track record,
right,
your reputation is solid, and you build good relationships, right? Like, money will never be something that you need. Like, it's just always going to flow.
It's always going to be there.
It's always going to be there. Remember, track record, reputation, and relationships. I'll give you an example. You guys ever heard of a guy named Dan Martell?
Yeah, he just came on.
Yeah, he just left.
Love Dan, right? Like, we were having dinner with him last night. Well, he invited myself, my business partner Sal, and he invited this other guy who was probably, honestly, I consider myself a pretty humble dude. You know my story.
Are you someone that doesn't have life insurance? Why leave anything up to chance in a worst case scenario? Luckily, Policy Genius makes finding the right policy simple, and their team of licensed experts are on hand to help you through it. Life insurance gives your family a safety net that they can cover expenses with, so they don't have to worry about money while getting back on their feet. I've had friends and family members that have passed away without life insurance, and it's definitely left us with financial instabilities. Even if you already have a policy, it may not offer enough protection for your family's needs, and it may not follow you if you leave your job. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. Policy Genius knows how valuable your time is. Their technology makes it easy to compare life insurance quotes from America's top insurance in just a few clicks to find your lowest price. Policy Genius has licensed, award-winning agents who can help you find the best fit for your needs. They work for you, not the insurance companies. They don't have an incentive to recommend one insurer over another, so you can trust their guidance. Policy Genius is for parents, caregivers, and anyone else who has people who depend on them. They simplify the process of getting life insurance so you can protect the people you love. They got thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot. Your loved ones deserve a financial safety net. You deserve a smarter way to find and buy it. Head to policygenius.com/DSH or click the link in the description to get a free life insurance quote and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/DSH.
I mean, I'm an immigrant from Mexico. I came here illegally twice, right? First time through a sewer canal in San Isidro. Lasted a year there. Went back to Mexico. Worked bagging groceries. My mom was working, cleaning hotel rooms in San Carlos. We saved up enough money. Came back to Phoenix, right? She snuck me, paid $25 to a human smuggler. I snuck in through the fence. Best investment she ever made, $25. I retired her in 2017, right?
Wow.
But anyway, I consider myself a very humble guy because I come from the mud. But this dude that we met yesterday, a guy named Keto King or King Keto.
I know him, yeah.
Bro, oh my God.
Brandon Carter, right?
Brandon Carter, 1 million, 1 million subs on YouTube. You know how hard it is to get 1 million subs on YouTube. 1 million followers on Instagram. The most humble dude in the room. Oh, and the only guy that was wearing a Richard Mille too. So.
Yeah.
That probably helped.
So again, the most humblest dude in the room.
Yeah.
We were putting him on some business game and tax strategies. I was leaning over, giving him all kinds of game, and that's what happens when you serve people. It's like all of a sudden it's like, here, I'll give you the prime example. We were just serving him. We were hanging out at the Mirage where because he was on the panel. He's a speaker, and we were just serving this dude, and we were talking about Andrew Tate, and I was like, man, I want to get Andrew Tate on because I'm launching a podcast called All In with Carlos Reyes soon, God willing, right? And I'm like, you know what? I want to get Andrew Tate on my podcast. And he goes, I know him. Let me text him right now. And I go, Sal, you want to go to Turkey or Romania? You know what I mean? So you see that? Like we served them. And as soon as I said, I want to get Andrew Tate on the podcast, he's like, let me text him right now. Like that's what happens when you just serve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Without
expectations, bro.
Right.
I didn't know this dude was I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
I just knew he was like this really good-looking, light-skinned black dude that looks like a younger version of Ronnie Coleman. You know what I mean? Like he was ripped.
He's funny too.
He was he was just a beautiful human being.
It's awesome.
And you know what? I would say the last probably 6 to 12 months, that's all we've been meeting is just beautiful human beings. And like I was telling you earlier, like we've had our fair share of meeting just some pretty bad people that came around for the wrong reasons, But I believe that unfortunately that's probably where we were. That's probably where we were operating without even knowing. You know what I mean? That's probably where we were operating. We were always ethical. That's not it. But our energy, right? Like our maturity, our spiritual maturity, right? Our emotional intelligence, like that wasn't always where it needed to be. So then we were attracting people and we didn't have the discernment to know, man, you know what? Nah, these people are bad apples. These people are not going to be here for the long haul. These people are coming to take and leave. So now it feels great to be attracting just the highest of caliber of individuals, not only in our business, but more importantly in our lives.
So what was that mindset like going back to the original version of you, sneaking through a gate, a fence?
Nogales, Sonora.
How old were you, 7, 8?
No, I was in 7th grade.
You was in 7th grade, sneaking through a fence. Once you got over, what was your mind like? Like, I'm about to like I'm about to just
so let me
like,
let me
make
just
it like
let me explain the immigrant mentality, because my my brother, my business partner, I've been
Mm-hmm.
business partners with him for 10 years. He's an immigrant from Iraq who was persecuted because he's a Catholic. You know what I'm saying? I'm an immigrant from Mexico who had to escape oppression, like financial oppression, poverty, you know what I mean? And my mother left my father because he was a drug addict and an alcoholic and used to beat her. So then we moved south 2 hours from where I was born in Mexico, left us with our grandparents. For 2 years, she went to California, Escondido, California. For 2 years, I didn't see my mom.
Wow.
She was just sending money on Fridays when she had a job. She received amnesty, like her paperwork, through working the fields, right? 2 years, she goes and gets us. The first time we come over, it's through a sewer canal in San Isidro, which is a border between TJ and Cali, right? And she's carrying my brother in with her left arm, dragging me with her right arm. We make it to Cali. We go to Escondido. We last 1 year. Financially, we just couldn't make it. We went back to Mexico, right? We grinded or whatever. So another year and a half. Now she leaves us for another year and a half after we save up enough money to send her to Phoenix, where I am now, right? This time around, she brings me over. As soon as I come over, obviously, she started my paperwork process in 97. But you have to understand, bro, unlike a lot of people that are either born here, right? They're born with everything, social security numbers and all kinds, they're American citizens, whatever. I knew the difference between hell and heaven. You know what I mean? If that's your question, I knew, like, once I tasted the land of milk and honey and the opportunity here, I was just like, this is where I have to do it. This is where, that's that immigrant mindset. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to work hard. Now, I will say this. The biggest objective, or not objective, the biggest challenge that immigrants have is we're not financially literate. We're hardworking people, right? What do we run? What do we dominate? What industries do we dominate, right? Landscaping, construction, cooks, restaurant business,
taco
right?
shops,
House cleaning, taco shop, whatever you want to call it. We dominate those industries.
Yeah, but you dominate them. Like,
Like
you dominate them.
There's no black people. There's no white people.
You dominate those industries.
Right? I don't care if you go to a Chinese restaurant, the Mexicans are cooking.
Yeah.
You go to Denny's, the Mexicans are cooking. Right? The Mexicans.
You guys dominate those industries. So
the work ethic is there.
In that case, some people might frown upon those industries, but those are multi-$100 million industries.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We run them. Yeah. We run them. And the thing is, the only reason we just haven't become financially intelligent enough to know, like, man, what if I take that work ethic, right, and that grit and that drive, right, and that commitment and that perseverance, and dedicate it to real estate, or dedicate it to running, like actually owning something, owning a business. You know what I'm saying? Right? Instead of being the landscaper, owning a landscaping company. Instead of being a construction worker, owning the construction company. Instead of being the cook, owning the restaurant. That's like the biggest shift that needs to happen in the immigrant community. That's what's not very.
You don't feel like that has happened?
No, no, it hasn't, unfortunately, man.
Or are they just taking you guys as concepts and then, actually putting whatever name in front of it, so it appears to be owned by, a Latin person, a Spanish person, whatever, and you guys being the face, but in the back end, it's a white dude owning it or something like that.
So my first successful venture was in real estate, right? Wholesaling and flipping, and most investors were white. Most investors were white. Very rare would you find a black investor. Very rare would you find a Mexican investor. Now, and by the way, I love all people.
Me too.
I love white people, black people, Mexican people. But this is what it is, right? Like, the white folks were buying and selling the houses, and then the Mexican folks were rehabbing and renovating the houses. That's what it was. That's what it is. When they were called the landscaper over to do the landscaping, it was a Mexican. You know what I mean? So that's why, for me, that's what I've seen, right? And I'm not going to sit here and victimize, because, to my knowledge, man, like, nobody has ever taken any opportunity from me. I think the opportunity, it's there for everybody equally. Right. It's like success doesn't discriminate. If you work hard, if you dedicate and commit to whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, you're going to get it done if you don't give up. Most people give up too soon. It's like 3 feet from gold. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they give up too soon. I'll give you an example. Our first ever wholesale deal was 2013. We didn't have a lot of money to spend on marketing, so my wife on Wednesdays was writing handwritten bandit signs. Right? We had a 2008 Nissan Rogue, and I was out there every night, Fridays from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m., putting down these bandit signs, right? 100 to 120. And 6 months later, 2,400 bandit signs later, we got our first wholesale deal, and it changed the rest of our lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could have gave up maybe 3 months in. Most people will. 4 months in. You know, most people just never follow through, man. They never do. They never do.
That's true.
But sometimes it takes enough pain. I was tired of being poor. You know what I mean? Like, it takes enough pain, and there's an old saying, it's like, until the pain exceeds the pain of having it change, right? Then it will never happen. Like for me, it was too painful to stay the same. You know what I mean? So, and then there's an old saying, nothing changes if nothing changes. Well, I was like, okay, this is too painful. I'm broke. I have to split the bills with my girlfriend, who is my wife now, that I retired in 2016. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, man, I have to split the bills with my wife. It was sad, bro. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, man, I used to split the mortgage with my wife. I used to split the utility bills with my wife. She used to pay for her own car. I used to pay for my own car. We used to split insurance. Like, bro, that's how I was living. And guess what? 2016, we became multimillionaires. 2018, I bought my first Rolls Royce.
Wow.
That's how fast success can happen.
That's insane.
You know what I mean? So, and again, now for me, like I told you, I said, hey, man, I haven't bought a watch in 3 years, right? I mean, the only reason why I bought a Porsche Taycan on December 28th, 2022 was because it weighs over 6,000 pounds and it was $150K, and I was going to save $45,000 in hard-earned cash to pay the IRS.
Right off.
So I'm like, I'll take first of all, it's $150,000 off my taxable income, right? So if I pay myself $1 million, there's $150,000 less that I'll get taxed on, right? And then if I pay 30% on that 150, right? If I was going to pay 30% on that 150, well, then that's $45K.
Yeah.
Well, how about I use that $45K to just make the $2,500 payment? That's about 18 months. So now I'm driving this car that I would have just paid the IRS.
Wow. You got the car for free, basically.
Pretty much.
Right.
That's how I'm thinking now.
I didn't know the Taycans was 6,000.
It's electric, full electric.
Yeah,
oh, it's electric? Wow.
Full
That's
electric.
heavy.
But you want me to tell you?
That's the G-Wagon. The G-Wagon is heavy.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll give you an example of like where our mindset is now. I'm not looking for the next Rolls Royce or Lamborghini. However, we are shopping for a Learjet 60.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So
So
that's
you
where
level up every year.
That's where we are now. For me, and then we're taking all this equity. For our big game now, like it started in real estate, made a good amount of money. Then we started launching these other companies, all these other companies, ProspectX.com, CallGeeks.com, the list goes on and on, NationalMedicalSurplus.com. And what happened was we were like, okay, so now we have launched and, automated these businesses. Let's start buying, right, and earning equity in all these other companies. That's our game now. Brother, in the month of June, we literally took, I don't want to say took, we acquired equity in 20 or 22 real estate companies sell? 20 or 22? 20? 22? We literally acquired equity in 22 real estate investment companies across the country. Wow. It's an 80-20 split.
Holy
you see what I'm saying?
crap.
So for me now, it's equity or assets. That's all I'm interested in the rest of my life.
You don't want cash flow?
Well, I mean, the cash flow comes from the equity or the assets.
Yeah.
Assets, real estate assets,
80,
right?
You got an 80-20 split. So you get 80, right?
No, they get the 80.
You get 80.
20.
So he gets 20% of 21 companies.
Oh, okay.
22.
22
But that's just on the real estate side.
Yeah.
This coming week we're taking, I don't want to say taking, we're earning 50% equity in a solar company. Right? And we're already working on trying to get equity in a construction company, in a roofing company. So that's our game now is private equity in real estate and in the home service
So all
space.
those are positive cash flow businesses.
Yep.
That's where billionaires are made in private equity.
I know. That's become our favorite game now, mergers and acquisitions.
Yeah. Hormozy's doing that too.
Right.
Yep. He has a similar model, but he does specifically, I believe, with gyms.
Yeah.
We do it in general business.
Yeah.
Roofing, HVAC, solar, real estate, it doesn't matter.
So it's kind of like the old school business model.
Yeah,
like the Warren Buffett type. I mean, the guy has equity in like 400 companies.
Niche business. So it's kind of the same concept where you started with, where you were saying Mexican Americans don't pretty much own that. So you, in your case, Mexican American, you pretty much owning those things now.
Yep.
All the things that are being used or all the things that they're being called for, you're owning those companies.
Absolutely. It's
like
honestly, it's the funnest game that you can ever play, bro.
Yeah.
It's the equity game is the top of the food chain.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's the top of the food
They
chain.
can't remove you. They got to either buy you out or earn you out.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. And our CEO that we hired, that dude has done 9-figure, acquisitions. It's funny. Our CEO, when we, first of all, he became a CEO in 1997. I was in like middle school.
Yeah.
Right. And he grew his previous company from 24 million to 210 million in annual revenue.
Jeez.
And this dude's already like on fire with us.
Yeah.
So he loves playing. He's 57 years old.
He loves playing.
He came out of retirement to play the game with us.
Yeah,
Wow, that's a good CEO.
Oh my.
Lot
So
of
far, so
companies.
good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So far, it's been beautiful.
A lot of companies struggle getting that team around them. You seem to have done a great job at that.
Yeah, but guess what? For 8 years, it was the roughest thing ever. Like to figure out that I used to think core values, right? Let's just talk about something as simple as core values in a company. You know what I mean? Or even Nike. Did you watch what is it? Air. I
haven't watched Air.
No, I didn't see
They
that.
got the 10 Nike principles, right? Always play offense, never defense. And
Yeah.
they got the core values, right? I'll give you an example. For one of our companies, one of our international companies, it's work ethic, integrity, and positivity, right? Work ethic, integrity, and positivity. If you don't align with those 3 things, you cannot work there. Because if you're not positive, then you're a bad apple. And if you're a bad apple, then you're going to ruin other people in the company. So you got to go. Because if we don't get rid of you now, then we're going to have to get rid of you and get rid of 5 or 10 other people.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Positivity, right? Positivity means no drama, no gossip, no slander, no nothing, no complaint. You know what I mean? You see how small, like we don't, when I was younger and we were building our companies, we were like, oh yeah, core values look cool. Put them on the wall. They look nice, right?
Yeah.
That work ethic, integrity, teamwork. Now it's like you got to actually live.
You got to
them.
implement those.
You got to
things.
live by them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is the law of the land. Because if you don't live by them, and I didn't know how important this was until 2 years ago, when we actually started going through all this turmoil, right? With our first C-suite that we ever hired, like that was a nightmare.
Really?
That was a nightmare. That was actually one of the worst hires we've ever made, and we thought it was one of the best hires we ever made.
Because he was toxic?
He was toxic.
It's toxic.
Yeah, it
He was
ruins the whole
toxic.
culture, bro.
And guess what? When we parted ways with him, we actually had to get rid of like 5 other people in leadership
Tainted them all.
because he
Rubbed off on him.
he
Jeez.
turned them on us. You see what I'm saying? Like people don't understand at a certain level when you're playing in business, these small things are so big.
Yeah.
They're so big. So all right.
It's not the business that gets sued; it's the employees of the business that get the business
Well,
sued.
employees are there. It's the number one asset in like any business. Whatever product, whatever service it is, great. But your employees are the asset. It's
Really?
the number one asset. Absolutely.
Wow.
Now, like
you never
I'll give-
hear about a business being racist. It's the employee that's racist. The business itself isn't racist. It's the people that's in there.
Oh, bro, and
Right.
just think about this, all right? Like our organization's goal, right? Our short-term goal, let me see, 24. What's 3 years? 3 years.
From
72,
now?
72 months.
3 years is...
Sorry, 12, 24, 36. Sorry.
Yeah.
Our 36-month goal is for our organization to be producing $100 million in annual revenue.
Wow.
Annual revenue. You know what I mean?
A year.
A year, per year. Yeah, you're not going to get there. You're not going to get there with a weak team that isn't aligned and that they're not all like gung-ho about the company. Like Sal and I, even though we're by the way, we're not even CEOs. You want to know what we do now?
What are you guys?
We sit on the
consultants?
board.
Wow, on the board.
We sit on the board. We sit on the board of directors.
Yeah.
Our CEO runs everything. And our CEO, right? Our CEO has weekly what he calls it business unit manager meetings, right? He sits down with every single business, like every single person that's running that particular business, sits down with them in the conference room. They do everything. We actually don't sit down with our businesses, and like once a month is all we do.
Wow.
We sit on the board of directors. That's what we do. We went from like hustlers to owner operators to business owners to real CEOs to board of directors now. You see? So there's levels. You know, there's levels. You know, you got to grow your way there.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't happen overnight. Again, it's been like a 10-year overnight success type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we've been through all the fires, all the turmoil. I mean, brother, we've been in lawsuits with Kate Spade. You know, like
wow,
that's a big company
for one of our logos. You know what I mean? So
serious?
Bro. I mean, imagine going 2-year lawsuit with Kate Spade. You know what I mean? So you're gonna take all. This is part of business. Business is a contact sport, man.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a contact sport.
Some people can't handle it,
and it is the most competitive sport in the world. But it's the funnest sport, man.
It is fun.
So
was it uphill all 10 years, or were there some downturns?
I would say the first 8 years were super uphill, and I think our biggest challenges were automation or systems, processes, SOPs, departments, right? Structure, infrastructure. That was like because when you think you have something figured out and then you grow beyond your capacity, you got to redo it all over again. You got to adjust. You got to adapt, right? So that we were growing so fast that our infrastructure couldn't keep up with the growth. It happens all the time in companies. That's why companies, like 9 out of 10 businesses fail the first year. You know, by the time the third year, it's not even. I mean, it's disintegrated, right? Yeah. So we were growing so fast that our infrastructure just wasn't there. You know, like that was. So our infrastructure was a big challenge. But the second biggest thing was having the wrong people there. You know, people that are not there to achieve the same goals that you want to achieve with the company. Like I said, Sal and I don't consider ourselves the business owners, right? We're employees of the company too. We'll do whatever needs to be done. If our company needs Sal to build softwares and run operations, he'll do it. Now, he doesn't have to do it now, but he had to do it for a very long time. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's so many things, man. But again, it's the funnest thing, and it's the most beautiful mountain that you'll ever climb.
What's your mindset like every day, waking up? Like, what are your mental beliefs?
Can I curse on this podcast?
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want.
All right. I normally don't curse, but you guys have me in the cursing mood.
I like that.
I'm methodical as I wake up at 5:30. I'm in my cold plunge at 6 o'clock. I'm at the gym 6:15, 6:30. I'm back to I'm in the sauna, and then I'm back to my family for about an hour and a half. I get to the office around 10:30. I go hard as I'm not even on my desk. I'm in the conference room from 10:30 to like 5. I'm in the conference room, meeting. I'm working on the business, big moves, big needle movers. I'm not working on the X's and O's, bro. I'm moving on the big needle movers. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So I'm doing that hard. Like, you know, my wife rarely, like my wife is like, she's been with me since day one. You know what I mean? She was writing on my bandit signs, right? I've been with her since August 19th, 2001, since we were kids. She's like my soulmate, the love of my life. We have 2 children, 2 girls. But again, my wife, that's another very important, bro. You gotta have the right woman. My business partner has the right woman. I have the right woman. They understand. They know how to play their role. They're the foundation. They're the CEOs of the household. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give you an example. We're here, right? I'm over here. I did, stop at Bradley's thing. Went to do Pineda's podcast. Went to have lunch at Fogo de Chao with Andy, Elliot, and Brad. And then we had dinner with Dan, all that. Full days, and my wife and his wife booked, it's called the Oogie Boogie Halloween party in where is it, in Cali? You know what I mean? They're the CEOs of the house, right? Nice. So you do got to have the right woman, and that's very difficult to find these days. You know what I'm saying? But again, methodical. You know, once I'm there, I'm super hyper focused. You know what I mean? Super hyper focused. I go home and then I just dedicate myself to my family. I really have learned over the past 4 years how to transition. Like that's what it is. So I have a transition point in my house, and that's the garage door. Before I enter the garage door, like, I'm not on the phone. I take my business hat off and I put my husband hat on and my dad hat on, and then I'm there with my family and my babies. You know what I mean? Wow. That's a lot of people, bro. You know, that's another thing. for me, I pride myself every single day to get to be like a superhuman. You know what I mean? Every single day, mind, body, spirit, not just body, not just mind and not the body. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like for me, I look at you and I'm like, okay, let me see what this dude is about. Let me see what his capabilities are. Let me see how far he can go. Mm-hmm. Bro, that's how it is. You want to play at the 9-figure level, then you're going to have to be a 9-figure person. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm methodical. And I used to remember like watching people, back in the day when I was coming up, right? Before I became a 7-figure earner, I became a 7-figure person. Before I became an 8-figure earner, I became an 8-figure person. Now I'm becoming a 9-figure person to become a 9-figure earner.
Wow.
So I'm very, very dedicated and methodical. Very methodical. Every single day, committed, bro. Committed and obedient.
Weekends off or no?
No. From work?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Now, yes.
Oh, yeah?
Hold on. Yeah. For the first 7 years, no.
Right.
For the first 5 years, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sometimes we almost even slept at the office. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what people need to understand. But we had those conversations with our wives.
Right.
Hey, babe, the first 3 years, you might not see me a lot. I'll sleep here. I'll be here for the big stuff, but you might not see me a lot. And then, 5 years in, it got a little better. 7 years in, it got a lot better. 10 years in, we actually have real freedom now.
Vacation.
Real freedom. Like, I don't have to be at work, and it will run as good or better.
That's where I'm at right now. I'm in that middle level you talked about, but the first 3 years we fought a lot because I think the communication wasn't clear.
And by the way, bro, I want you to know that, your business and business in general, it's a ever evolving thing, right? So as you grow, things are going to change, and you just have to adapt. Yeah. Right. The most resilient people in this world are the people that can adapt the best. How do you think I can adapt so good? Because of where I come from. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Being an immigrant, coming up through poverty, all that stuff. I just adapt very well.
I love that.
I adapt very well. I'm a survivor. So.
Yeah. I saw you just go on a wellness retreat. How often are you doing those mental health checks?
I actually, it's funny. So the gentleman, the two people that came down, they paid us $50,000 for consulting. Mm-hmm. That's 2 days in our office, and we're like business doctors. We rip apart their business and then we build it back up. And then we give them like a 3-month plan, a 6-month plan, end of the year plan. We went all the way to the end of the year. I'm talking about from revenue goals to marketing, right? KPIs within the marketing, the hiring down the road, like everything you can think of. When I tell you that they get a full action plan and a business plan, right? That's what they got. So they paid us $50K. These young guys, man, they're like 27 and they're already doing just stupid things in the development world. Like they literally buy land and then they develop it. They actually build it. So one of them's a developer. He's a genius. And then his brother is a genius at the construction side. He's a builder. So imagine you got these two brothers, Ukrainian Russians.
Yeah.
The genius kid, he helped a developer make or generate over $800 million in revenue. Mm-hmm. So he's like, you know what, I'm gonna do my own thing. After $800 million in revenue for this, right? So you got this genius kid that knows how to use every inch of the land, and then you got this other genius kid that knows how to build what that dude needs to build. These guys are gonna be billionaires before I'm a billionaire, bro.
Wow. So
yeah, they paid $50K just to come down. Sal and I, we ripped apart their business, we build it back up, and then if I like you, I shouldn't say this. If I like you,
already said it.
If I like you, I will invite you to Sedona on Saturday, because you come in for Thursday, Friday, and if I like you, and I want to spend time with you, right, then we'll go up to Sedona on Saturday.
Now we know if he likes you.
Yeah.
Took
him up to Sedona on Saturday, man, and it was beautiful. But I, for the last 2 years, actually since hit, I don't know if I can say COVID. I don't, right? You're not supposed to say it, right? I don't know, for algorithm purposes, but ever since that happened, I personally started going up to what I call spiritual day, mostly on Wednesdays. So I started taking Wednesdays off during the work week. So I actually started working 4 days instead of 5.
Wow.
At some point, we're working 7, then we're working 6, right? It was like Monday through Saturday. Then it went, watch the evolution of the work, right? As a business owner. Sunday to Monday, Monday to Sunday. First 3 years. From the 3rd year to the 5th year, Monday to Saturday. All 6 days. The 5th year to the 7th year, Monday to Saturday, half day on Saturday, right? And then the last two years, Monday through Friday. No, actually, 7 to 9 or 7th year, right? Monday to Friday, and then the last 3 years since COVID, it's like 4 days now.
Wow.
And that did you see that stepping that ladder? You know what
Gradual.
I mean? Yeah, I gradually got there.
Right.
And Wednesday has been like my spiritual day. I go up once a week or once every other week because I consider myself a creator, right? I'm a creator, so what allows me to do is I step away from all the noise. I go up, I levitate in a cave, I do a plunge up in Sedona, I take my journal, you know what I mean? And I just create.
Wow.
And it's changed my life because if you
Sounds
take a look
sick.
at the trajectory of my life over the past 3 years, right? Yeah, we were doing pretty good in business, but the last 3 years, everything just blew up. And now everything, right? And then, hold on, but the last 2 years were the most challenging in business. I'll give you an example. In just one of our companies, the real estate company, quarter 3, quarter 4, real estate took a turn.
Right.
We had millions of dollars in houses sitting on the market, listed. It took us, we just sold our last house last month. You know what I mean? So
Still did it though.
we did it.
Yeah,
Praise
yeah,
God, we
yeah.
did it. We did it, right? But again, man, you know, you're going to take those licks. You know what I mean? You're going to take those licks, right? Things can't always be green. You know, you're not always going to be in the green. Sometimes you're going to be in the red, right? But it's what builds character. It's what builds your character. And then you're going to know, man, am I really up for this or am I not? Right? Because everybody can, when you're winning, it's easy to call yourself a businessman. But when you're losing, you know, it's like how you bounce back from that is
Right.
what's going to determine how far you're going to actually go.
Right.
You know? So even though the last couple of years were the most challenging because we had to like redo everything. Remember the, you know, C-suite executive and then our old team, old habits, right? All that, old culture. This year has been the absolute best time we've ever had in business.
Nice.
And we've had the most growth in business. So
And we're in a recession, so the fact that you're growing means you're doing something right.
I think recession is for the people who choose to be in recession.
Gotcha.
You don't believe in them?
No,
It's a
because I'll tell you
mindset
why.
thing.
Ready? I have a medical company, right? When recession hit, our medical company spiked,
Wow.
right? When COVID hit, some things went down. Our real estate company went up. You see, that's why, you guys ever hear that whole, and I didn't understand this, by the way. Your average millionaire has 7 streams of income.
Yeah, I heard that.
That's what, it's like a safety net, bro. It's like, you know, think about it. Is the medical industry ever down?
Never.
I don't care if
I've never
you're
seen a
bro,
hospital close in my life.
elections, recessions, pandemics. Like the medical industry is booming.
Right.
Always.
It just shifts whether it's
Always.
getting vaccinated or getting tested,
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
or going there if you have.
You want to try to you want to try to get some bulletproof company or industries going. You know what I mean? Because yes, sometimes things are going to be up, things are going to be down. Maybe this time this side is down and then this one is up. It's always like that. That's why it's always going to have multiple verticals. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's smart to put some money in industries that can't really die off, like medical.
Yeah,
I like
absolutely.
that.
It's bulletproof. Medical is bulletproof for sure.
Yeah. So what are you guys doing next to get to the 9-figure level?
Do more of what we're already doing. Now it's just a matter of time.
I like that.
Yep. Now it's just a matter of time. I believe, even though we have a forecast of, you know, 24, 36 months, 3 years. I believe that next year is going to be our biggest year in our organization's history.
Nice.
So we're setting up for that, and you know we're very happy, man. We're
Yeah.
having the most 10 years in. We're having the most fun we've ever had in business and
Wow.
in life, because it's like we're making the most amount of money. We have the most amount of freedom, right? We're the smartest we've ever been. We're not in the best shape we've ever been, but we're not too bad. You know what I mean? So we both, Sal and I both now, like, you know, we're fully committed in every area of our life, you know,
Nice.
to our wives, to our children, to our business, to ourselves, you know. So
Yeah. So you
We're having
finally
fun.
found that balance. It took like 10 years. but-
that's the thing, right? People talk about a balance, but there's no such thing as balance. Because, right, think about it this way. You're going to work 8 to 10 hours a day, right? So if you're working 8 to 10 hours a day and you're only getting to see your family during the week, Monday through Friday, you only get to see your family 2 to 4 hours a day. Well, then that's not really balanced, right? The scale's tilting. Now, I believe in offsetting. If I go hard for a month or two, I'm already planning a vacation. You get what I'm saying? For where it's intentional time with my children and my wife, and that fills up their love tank. You see, that's all they need is for you to fill up their love tank. When you fill up their love tank, they don't care where dad is. Their love tanks are full. You get what I'm saying? Like if you're always constantly intentional and you spend good quality time with your children and you just love them when you're around them, it's not like you're like, oh yeah, honey, wait up, hold on. No. Boom. If you're around, when you're around your kids and your wife and you just dedicate fully to them, brother, it just always feels like you're in balance. Wow. You're operating in balance. So I don't believe in balance, but I do believe in offsetting. If I'm going to work hard for this long, then I'm going to do this to offset that so that I don't crash.
Yeah. I love that. Man, any closing comments, man? This has been a pleasure having you on.
Yeah. Thank you, bro. Hey, man, like, don't quit too soon. Don't quit too soon. If an immigrant from Mexico who came here with nothing can make it, anyone can make it.
And Carlos Reyes on Instagram?
Yep, at Carlos Reyes.
There you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.
Peace.